Hey everybody, Chris Lukey here, founder of the Ignite Method and founder of World Class Coaching. Today, I'm pretty excited to bring to you an amazing story of my good friend, entrepreneur, sales professional, Justin Soche. Justin reached out to me a little bit over a year ago, wanted to know some information about the program. By all means, Justin was doing everything right in his business, multiple six-figure earner, but he was just stuck on a plateau. And Justin said to me, like, my income and everything and the business just seemed the last 3 or 4 years, I'm just stuck. More strategy, more tactics, more effort, more grind. Nothing seemed to be working. Even had other coaches and tried other programs. Jumped into the World Class Coaching program, did the 6-month mentorship. And I checked up on Justin at the end of the first quarter this year. Said, Justin, I'm just reaching out to see how you're coming along with your goals. And the message you sent back to me completely floored me. Justin said, hey, Chris, things are going great. Business is up 500% from this time last year. Everybody, I want to welcome Justin.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Chris, so much. I'm excited to be here. We run a small boutique mortgage company here in the Niagara region. We've been doing it for, it's going to be 13 years this December. So everything's been really good. And business has always been thriving, but now is extremely thriving. And we've had a lot of success and we get a lot of support. So we're helping a lot of families now the way we've always wanted to. So
wow, that's amazing. So I remember, Justin, when I started my coaching business about over a couple of years ago, you made a couple inquiries and finally you and I sat down and had a Zoom meeting just like this. And we kind of dug a little deeper and you mentioned, like, Chris, like, for the last 3 or 4 years, you were doing everything right. Income was stuck on a plateau. But then you realize when you go through this program, it's much more than just business. It's about life. It's about family. So not only was your income stuck on a plateau, but you were burnt out, stressed out, tired of grinding. And I can see it in you. And it's like, Justin, you got to go through the program. And you did. So we want to speak about that.
yeah, absolutely. I think, like you had said there, we do invest back into our business, and we had done that through different coaches and different business strategies. But I think one of the big differences and one of the things that kind of led me this way is I think when we are stuck or when we've kind of plateaued in doing that, I think for me, or the thing that kind of attracted me to the program, is I think we're always kind of chasing the next business opportunity that's going to improve our business. And one of the things that led me to sign up and got me intrigued more was there's many different pillars in our life, right? There's our family, there's our personal, there's our business. But I think there was a lot that was focusing on the business stuff and forgetting to look in the mirror as to maybe why things were stuck and why things were different or not getting to where we were. So this was a good opportunity to kind of, I think the time was right where it was time to kind of start looking in the mirror and start identifying why were we stuck? Why were we burnt out? Why were we getting frustrated? Why, all those whys, very uncomfortable conversations and more so kind of being accountable to myself, as opposed to looking at, why isn't the business doing this? Why isn't this? And it was just a lot of really tough mindset shifts, but very easy mindset shifts when you're willing to be accountable to yourself and look in the mirror and be willing to make those changes to be, better person, better father, better everything else. And that, I think, because of that directly translated into business. But it's like, wow, there's more things firing, more of those pillars of aspects of life that made you more of an attractive person to want to talk to. Because, your head's up higher, your shoulders are back, because there's other aspects of your life that are firing the way they should be. So I always thought it was. I never would have thought myself to be somebody who was not a positive mindset person, because I very much am a very positive mindset person, but it was more of just being cognizant of what was happening and making sure we're doing exercise, making sure we're doing these things, making sure we're taking time for kids and different things that were important to me. And it, made me more of a well-rounded individual as opposed to thinking that work was my identity.
You said so many profound things there because we all know as an entrepreneur, you focus so much on growing the business, strategizing, grinding, working harder, social media, and you forget about your life and your family. But you said something like really impactful. I want people to understand this. You said I had to be accountable to myself. And I
Yeah.
often post and I often tell people, you're doing a lot of things right. It's not who you are, it's not what you're doing, it's who you have to become. And you told me, Chris, I want to be a seven-figure earner, but you were operating from a system of someone who was, making 200 grand or 100 grand. And I said, well, Justin, you have to be accountable to yourself. There's actually, I tell people, getting rich isn't a secret, it's a science. I said, there's a method you have to take, but those methods are on you. It's not more strategy, it's not more grinding. There are actually clear, defined action steps that you have to take as a person to become a seven-figure earner. And, we had to look at those gaps, your productive actions and your non-productive actions. We dug deep into those non-productive actions to get you in alignment for the business you wanted to run and the person you wanted to become.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, I think one of the biggest things, and I was never this person, but I think I was starting to maybe become this person, which was not who I am, which is very much looking for other excuses. Whereas now, what would it be now, Chris? 12 months maybe since we started the program. And I would say the biggest transition in those 8 months, which is who I am at the core, and I believe it, it just kind of took that awakening
Yes.
to do it, which was more accept responsibility for everything. Why did we lose a client?
Right.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Were we our best that day? Did we not follow our process? Did we not do this? As opposed to making an excuse of, well, they were just difficult to deal with. We didn't
Right.
want them, or oh, it's a market condition, or oh, it's, in our world, being mortgages, it's all we lost because a bank could compete
Right.
and offered a better rate, which is not the most important thing. It's looking in the mirror of, did we truly explain different things? Did we truly explain this? Why are the kids in a bad mood today? Is this really important? So really, really focusing on and being able to identify is things of, is this really important?
Well, it's
Right. Can we control this?
yes.
And then sometimes it's things, it's gone too far, right? And hey, we can't control that result, but being able to go back and be cautious of and analyze. And again, I always say that I'm going to use that looking in the mirror analogy a lot here, but looking in the mirror and pointing the finger back at yourself of, were we our best today? Were we the best in that situation? To be honest with you, we've had situations where we truly believe we have been.
Yeah.
Right. But it was, looking in the mirror and going, were we the best today? More so, there's only small situations where we say we are,
Yeah.
but using those as learning experiences and taking that again to kind of build and be better in life, better in communication, better personally, better all those things. So, recognizing some challenges and, I'll call them some failures that kind of happen. But again, looking in the mirror, pointing the finger back at ourselves and taking that responsibility to be better and being accountable to ourselves, to our clients, to our family, be a better person.
So many nuggets in what you just said. And I want to talk about, first of all, you talked about who I was becoming. One of the biggest reasons I started my coaching business, because I can relate to that so much, because I spent nearly 30 years as a first responder, as a firefighter, and I was becoming somebody I didn't want to become. I was like,
Yeah,
who is this guy? And where was the old guy? And we become what we call a victim of circumstances. And we believe, oh, this just the way it is. It is what it is, and I can't control it. And I felt that way. I was so stuck thinking this is just life. But when you go through our program and you understand how your mind operates, how your conscious mind and subconscious mind operates, you really begin to think that you will never be a victim of circumstances or a victim of any kind ever again, because you are in control of you. And you begin to realize all your results on the outside, financially, personally, relationships, all your results on the exterior are a direct result of what's going on the inside. And when you begin to understand how this operating system works, you really can create your own economy, and you really can create your own life, can't you?
absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. Big mindset
Yeah.
shifts.
And it takes work. And then I would say now more than ever, it's not saying that we have it all figured out and haven't had days or weeks or hours or minutes where we've be faced with a situation where I feel as if it's kind of falling where the brain starts spiraling and going maybe to that negative stuff or the other direction of where we're going. But now I would say very, very quickly being able to identify it and shut it down, and being able to be like, whoa, why am I thinking this way? Can I control this? No, but I can control me, and I can control what I think. And there are opportunities out there, and there are a lot of positive things that came out of whatever situation that is, right? So very quickly being able to identify it and snap myself out of it, I think is a big, now I would call it kind of a strength and a superpower for that matter. I'll give an example. 2 weeks ago, kind of had one of those days or hours where I just need to vent. And this is what's going on, and kind of going down that road. And even through the conversation of, vent came out, but, then identifying, but we're doing a lot of really, really good things. I believe we're on the right. So it kind of went, the conversation kind of went like not like this,
Right.
but started going this way, and then being able to identify through speaking it out. And if we started at this height, and if you can think of it as a graph, and started to come down, I would say by the end of that half-hour conversation, we were way above where we had started from a mindset in that. And that was just from identifying it, say it again, look in the mirror, take accountability, right? And a lot of it was, why was things spiraling down? Why was I feeling that way? Wait, there are things that I haven't done in the last 5-7 days that should keep me up to this part, right? Or keep me up operating at this level. And it was simple things as, exercise, wasn't doing daily activities or daily habits, non-negotiables that we had incorporated. And again, being able to identify those and going, well, hey, I'm feeling this way because I'm not holding myself accountable to what the expectation was, and being very quickly able to snap myself out of it, as opposed to continuing on for days, weeks,
Well,
and going deeper.
One of the biggest reasons I actually, I titled my company World Class Coaching is because we began to learn, like, you wanted to live a world class lifestyle. You wanted to break through a 7-figure plateau. And so we talk a lot about our philosophy and standards. When you become into a decline, you get to ask yourself, is that the standard of a 7-figure earner? Is that the standard as someone who's serving my clients at the highest level possible, right? Because if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And I know exactly what you feel like. The old Chris, the old Justin, you may be stuck for weeks, months, or years, but going through this program, you learn how to snap out of it. But let's talk about your income, because so many people don't understand there's this thing called a paradigm, and you are literally programmed to earn what you earn. And that's why one of the reasons you were earning what you were earning for 3, 4, 5 years, because every time you went to grow and stretch, there was some kind of a resistance, something that was pulling you back. You think it's more strategy, you think it's more hustle, you think it's more grind. But when you begin to learn that you have this internal programming that is set like a thermostat, you say, Chris, I want to hit the 7-figure plateau, but I've only made 100 grand. You are programmed to earn 100 grand, 200 grand. So there's things we have to close that gap. And we talk about the habits and the details and the non-productive actions. What were some of the gaps that you had to close to raise your standards to become a 7-figure earner?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say the biggest closing the gap, I would say the biggest thing was not trying to be everything to everybody. Believe it or not, actually saying no, or working less, actually helped with that. And I felt as if I was being pulled in a million different directions. And a lot of those things I was doing were non-productive activities. And when I say non-productive activities, from a personal level, from a family level, and from a professional level. And it was really, that's kind of how I try to operate life. And for me anyways, kind of in those 3 buckets. So it was really kind of every time there's a scenario that comes in, or there's an ask, whether that is a time, monetary contribution to something, it was really quickly identifying it. Is it going to move the needle in any of those 3 pillars that are important to me? And then starting to say no, because a lot of the stuff I was doing, I found were non-productive activities that weren't moving the needle in those buckets. Those buckets start to overlap the deeper that I get into it. So it was really, I would say the biggest gap for me that kind of I filled or closed, however you want to look at it, was starting to say no to starting to say no to a lot of things,
And
which allowed me to get to the yeses of what was important to me.
isn't it amazing when I tell people, how would you like to work less? How would you like to buy back your time and 5x, 10x your income? And people think it's impossible. But what you just said, like you nailed it because you began to identify what your non productive actions are. And one thing we do is we get people hyper focused on 3 to 6 goal achieving activities a day. We spend a week analyzing ourselves in lesson 2 called this opportunity gap. And when you begin to look at all your non productive actions and all the hours that you're wasting, and then all of a sudden we say, put in 5 hard hours, it's like things really begin to skyrocket and take off. You begin to learn what your non-productive actions are, and then we start creating all these productive actions, and you find out you're actually working less now. You're buying back your time. You spend more time with your kids, with the wife. You can now go to these external functions. So what you just said,
The ones I want to go to, the ones I want
yeah,
to go to.
yeah. So
That I enjoy, that I thoroughly enjoy going to,
yeah,
that makes me feel happy and makes me feel in a good mood,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think that's one of the biggest things is we can get caught up in chasing something, get caught up in materialistic things and different stuff. I know I fell into that trap. I can be completely honest and do that. Ultimately, it was identifying everything as to what makes me happy.
yeah,
Does this make me happier?
yeah,
And if I can't say that it does, then I won't do it. Going to certain business events or going to some family events
yeah,
didn't make me happier. And again, that's where the overlap started to come in as were these things I was doing, were they moving the needle or helping me progress in every direction in
yeah.
those three buckets and
It's
identifying
amazing.
that. And
When I
yeah,
tell people you literally can have a quantum leap in 6 months, people are like, it's impossible. We compress decades into months, literally, is what we do in this program. But you talked about the overlap. We go through 12 modules, each module is 14 days long. Every time we get to a new module, you talked about an awakening, and a lot of people mentioned an awareness that they've never had before. And every time we start a new module, I said, what'd you learn from the last one? And people are like, I thought the last one was good. This one blew me away. And the course is specifically designed that everything overlaps and stacks on top of each other. But one of the big things, and this is my experience working with a lot of entrepreneurs over the last 2 years, a vast majority of entrepreneurs, is I ask them, what's your goal? And people don't even know what they want. And we spent 2 weeks right at the beginning talking about your goal, writing it down, having a goal card that you carry around in your pocket. A lot of people think it's silly.
I
And
did it. I did it. I thought it was silly. I thought it was silly at the start and wouldn't do it. When I did it and put it in my wallet, which was loosely put in my wallet, it would fall out with all the other receipts and everything. It was kind of funny when I was out and doing things socially and put my wallet on the table. People are like, "What the hell are those?" And these are my goals. This is what I'm striving to do. This is who I want to become. A lot of the people that I hang out with are other entrepreneurs, and a lot of the old guys, as I call them, would kind of look and go, good on you.
yeah,
Good on you.
yeah.
We know what you're trying to do. You still got lots of time. Go do it. Right. Like, good on you. We know what you're doing. And it kind of built that as people see it as you're trying to be a better person and you're trying to do things and work on yourself and all these different aspects and they know it.
Yeah.
They're the people you want to be around are the people that rally behind you and
Right.
want to see you succeed, right? And that was a big one for me. And I say that a lot of the times is, make sure you're surrounding yourself with the people that want to see you succeed, right? And I've taken some slack from family and friends and different things on that, but it's really been able to identify those people that at the end of the day do not make me happy, do not want to see me succeed, and ultimately cutting ties to a certain degree with some of those. Not, I wouldn't say with those relationships are cut off, but it's what I'm going to try to bring a positive mindset and encourage you and encourage your children and encourage all these different things. That's who I am. I expect the same, just as a mutual respect. And if you're not willing to do that and encourage myself, my family, my children, everything we're trying to do, it's unfortunate, but I don't think you're my people. Right. And continue to search for those people that do rally around you and encourage you to be, hitting again, all those three pillars, understand what you're trying to accomplish and make sure that you're understand that you're doing your best to function at best you can in all three of those pillars every day.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
raising our standards, we're raising our philosophy. And one of the big things we consistently talk about in the program is proximity is power. You become the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. And it's right. And not that you literally attract. So a lot of people talk about the law of attraction, but they forget the law of attraction is a secondary law to the law of vibration. And you begin to understand and realize that we as human beings, this power runs to and through us, and we literally, by our thoughts, give off this vibration. And it's that vibration that attracts people. And you just said that you start attracting the clientele and the people you wanted to work with because you did the inner work. Everybody thinks it's an exterior fix. I thought it was an exterior fix. I was looking for people to fix me. You were looking for solutions and strategies to fix you. And then you begin to realize you are the problem, you are the solution, and every answer is inside of you, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah, being accountable to yourself,
Yeah.
right? If an airplane goes down, who's the first person you take care of? You put the
Right.
mask or whatever it is on yourself, and then
Yes.
help others.
So we begin that this whole law of attraction, this whole business thing, this whole life thing, it's an inside job. And that was the biggest shift in my life when I learned that everything is inside of me. I was blaming others. I worked in a very chaotic environment and I let the outside world, and I mean, let's admit right now, the outside world is crazy. It's full of, if it bleeds, it leads. It's the internet, it's the news, and everything's bad. And you can get sucked into that real fast. And I did. And when I learned how to control me from the inside out, and I stopped letting the outside world control me, my whole life shifted, my income shifted, my relationship shifted. And that's what happened to you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll always find the answers, you'll always get the answer you want if you go looking for it.
Yes.
Right? I know even for myself, one of the big things is when we started, it was probably a little bit even before we started your program, because I was searching to start making a change, which kind of had led me to some of the stuff that you were saying that kind of resonated. But I think, as a prime example, I think a lot of us can go down a rabbit hole, within social media, inside the internet, in the news. These are the smartest scientists in the world that create these programs. And, you want to talk about, which again, I know goes against, but, we always joke that, the man's always listening. Right. So if you're saying negative things and you're doing all those things,
100%.
you're searching negative things, you're searching things. So you are feeding that negative engine that is continually to push stuff out, whether you're searching stuff on Instagram or Facebook or Google or all those things. And I know for me, like I said, just before, I think it was starting when I shifted, is when you look at, or the things that these big scientists, best in the world, are now pushing to me, the positive coaches, the positive mindset stuff. So again, that came from me recognizing it, looking to go down a positive rabbit hole, if that makes sense. And then that shift of mindset, the world just started pushing more positive mindset, positive people, positive influence, positive that. And I believe now, it was another one of these old guys that I play golf with. We were away in Florida on a golf trip back in February, and he was very well aware of everything that we had been doing in our business and in life, and saw the goal cards and everything last summer. And one of the things that he said is, he's like, Justin, like at 43 years old, where you're at in your business and what you're doing, like there's a time where the torches need to start to get passed as us old guys leading the community, and the torch is starting to get passed to you, because you are now the new leader that needs to help the new people that are taking businesses and doing that. And that led to, again, talk about opportunity, that led to a lot of introductions, probably a dozen introductions, because this individual was very well connected. And he's like, hey, you need to go talk to Justin. I think that, the more we can change that, our own internal mindset, that image that we're portraying, the world will just continue to push that positive stuff. So if you're down in the dumps and you're going through a negative thing and you're doing that, the world will continue to push shit to you.
The law of attraction and law of vibrating. When people understand, you give off an energy, whether you realize it or not. And you talked about doing the internal work, and this internal work, and it's not just happy clappy. It's not just thinking positive. It's so much deeper than that. It's these things. You talk a lot. I tell people success isn't a secret. Success is a science. And you mentioned it about the science. This is actually what we call, this is neuroscience. And it's the science of how your mind operates. And I often tell people your mind is like a garden, and whatever you feed it will grow. And if you're feeding it negative information, you're going to grow negative plants, or you're going to grow whatever you feed your mind grows, right? And once people start understanding, that's just a small part of it, but it's so true. And because you did the internal work and started shifting things, you started attracting wealth and abundance and people into your life. And it's just, it's amazing how it works, how people can pick up a vibration and energy. And it's not by fluke, it's the laws. And that's what we're trying to teach entrepreneurs. It's not the hustle, it's not the grind, it's these laws of the universe that make you successful. And it's who you have to become, who you have to hang out with. As we get to wrap up here, you mentioned the word mindset. And I keep trying to tell people, like, we're all treating mindset like some kind of concept. I've read the books, I've done the affirmations, but this is so much deeper than mindset. I tell people this is mindset 2.0. This is so much deeper. So talk about, as we wrap up here, what was so different about the program? What resonated with you? Why was it so much deeper than just your typical positive mindset program?
Right. I think you need to want to do it. Like, I remember having a conversation with a colleague of mine when I was looking to join the program. And it was, we can go after this business coaching, or we can go after this life coaching, or whatever it is. And this had really, for me, went through our conversations, really kind of, I felt encompassed all of it. Right. So it encompassed all of those, again, I'm going to say pillars, but the things I felt that were important to me, and the things that were talked about on a weekly basis, on the calls, on one-on-one calls with you personally, and the different things. So I think you really need to want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of, I'll call it kind of that tipping point of, hey, I really knew where I was. Again, probably that accountability piece of looking in the mirror even before we had started, and identifying like, no, I really do want to make a change. So I truly believe you have to want to do the work. You can sit and make every excuse in the world, even things that didn't resonate with me at the start, that maybe didn't make sense. It wasn't so much of going, well, this doesn't make sense. What the heck is Chris talking about? It was more like, hey, Chris, I don't understand this. Can you help explain it? And it was very fortunate, as with the group environment, maybe I didn't hear the message coming from you, but there was other peers that were able to explain it in a way that resonated with me. But again, that comes down to me wanting to make the change, because I could have very easily said, I have no idea what Chris is talking about. It doesn't make any sense. This is not a good lesson. But I knew that it was still a very important aspect to get on to the next levels of where we were going and wanting to do. So because it was important to me, and I wanted to do it, and I wanted to make the change and be accountable to myself, was being able to be vulnerable and ask the question to get the answer, to continue to build and move forward, and be ultimately hit the goal of where I wanted to go.
You mentioned a couple of things, but I always tell people what got you here won't get you there. You have to be, a couple of things you mentioned, you have to want to change, but you have to be open to new information, because the information we provide, you don't learn as a kid, you don't learn in schools, it's not in your corporate trainings. This is new information, and you have to be willing to accept it. You have to be open and receptive. And so many people, like you said, you didn't maybe understand it in the beginning, but so many people end up having breakthroughs 4, 5, 6 weeks into the program, and all of a sudden they start having these aha moments, and they start piecing it all together, and it's like, wow, now I get it. But a big part of this is, you got to know where you are, you got to know where you want to go, you got to want to change, but you have to keep an open mind on the information, because this is information that is completely on a different level, and that's why you're on a different level. And so you mentioned the group. I often tell people the group, you got to be part of the group, because what you're going to gain from the group is so powerful. Maybe just touch on being part of a group of like-minded people where you're literally on a call twice a week.
Yeah, I think the group was, well, like I said, right? Like you hear different, I've done different programs and stuff where there's a facilitator that just sits up there and I mean, obviously they have to get through their content, but it was more of a I think it was more of a collaboration approach of a group of individuals that were all there that truly wanted to be better.
Yeah.
As I did. So it was good in the sense of being able to reciprocate the help, reciprocate confusion on messages, maybe that to
Yeah.
allow them to have the aha moment that they provided me the week before, to have a breakthrough and get on to the next point and the next level and the important information that was coming, but needed to break through that wall to get to the next to
Yeah.
the next level. So I thought the group was great. We had in our group when we had done it, there was everything from all ages that were there, all different points of life. I believe there was even some that were not entrepreneurs and
Right.
not business people trying to be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, it was a group of individuals that were all striving to be better versions of themselves and
Awesome.
hit the important buckets of
Yeah.
their life that were important to them. And everyone had different goals in those buckets,
That's right.
right? And
That's
it
right.
was really cool to even hear their goals and what they were striving to do and become and improve different aspects in those buckets of their life and go, shit, I forgot about that one. And I believe that one is really important as well. I need to make sure
Yeah.
that I'm incorporating that aspect or that different thing in that will lead to my success and
Yeah.
allow me to be a better person as well. So the group I thought was a very, very collaborative, positive group. There was a lot of constructive criticism. And again, if you need to be open to that, I can remember being called out once or twice on some things that I was digging in on, right? That I thought was a belief of mine. But again, with everybody with that same striving towards the same goal to be able to go, well, I think you're wrong, Justin, because that becomes a mindset thing. And you
Right.
don't have the right mindset. And it was like,
Yeah.
maybe not liking what was said at the moment, but then, jumping off the call,
Yeah.
reflecting on it through the day and going, again, being accountable to myself and reflecting on it was like, you know what? Chris was right. Chris was right.
Yeah.
This is a me problem that I need to fix.
Yeah. And that, again, we are the problem, we are the solution. And once you understand it, everything is inside of you. Like everything
Yeah.
in your outside world's a direct reflection of the inside world. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's the truth. But I'm glad you mentioned the energy in the group was incredible. And I remember getting off some of those calls myself. I remember getting text messages from you guys and clients saying that was amazing. So the energy in the group is incredible. And I'm glad you mentioned that in our particular group, there was 6 or 7 of us, and there was entrepreneurs, there were real estate agents, there were investors, there were stressed out moms, there was people like
Yep.
me, there was a firefighter. There's people from all walks of life. And I just want people to know that this is it's a high performance life program. It's an entrepreneurial program. Tell people our minds are just like an operating system of your cell phone. No matter who you are, where you work, this operates the exact same way, whether you're a 7-figure entrepreneur or a burnt out mom, right? So, listen,
Yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, I truly believe people need to be more vulnerable in admitting this is that we truly are all living the same life. We all have challenges at work. We all have challenges with our spouse, right? We all have challenges with kids. We have challenges with kids' activities. We're all stressed out and want the best thing for our children. And we all want the best at work. And we all have the same challenges. And I really think, again, the people that are confident enough to talk about those challenges and bring them to light. I know that was one of the biggest changes I've kind of made in the last 18 to 12 months is, I don't want someone to know that I'm going through this. But then as you start talking to other people about it, you realize they're going
everybody's
through
going
the
through
exact
it.
same challenge in their business. They're going through the exact same challenge with their kids. They're going through the exact same challenge in their kids' sports. I think, again, anybody that's looking to get involved in the program, if you're sitting there thinking you're doing okay, I don't need this, I would question at that point, are you a true entrepreneur?
Right.
Right? because
Or
are
are
you
you living
looking,
your best life?
or are you living your best life? Because I think as an entrepreneur, or somebody, not even as an entrepreneur, it would be anybody. If you truly want to break through something, you can't do it alone.
No.
Right? You can't. You need to be open. You need to, I said it before, you need to want to make the change. If you don't want to make the change, just go back to being your miserable self and attract those people and deter the people that you really do want to be a part of and hang out with.
Yeah. Amazing, Justin.
And accept it and accept it.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. We talk about some people can't accept, like you're looking for a never next level of success. And it's all part of this paradigm where you're not used to that next level of success. But I want you to know, everybody, you were meant for more, to do more, to be more, to have more. And I thought a lot of people have money problems. I said, money gives you options and opportunities. It helps you create experiences for your family, to do things, to buy things. But my kid went to a private school. I could have never, ever afforded that if I didn't change the way I was operating and the money I was earning. I appreciate your time. You just mentioned, talk about so many people. I say the purpose of an investment is to grow. You're buying a stock, you're buying an RSP, you're buying a house. But when it comes to investing in ourselves, we look at it as an expense. I just want to talk about making the investment in yourself was so much more. And I want people to know the investment is for a lifetime. We are building a community here of like-minded people who get it. I get it. Live everything you're going through. I lived it. I was afraid to talk about it. We are creating an incredible community here. But just talk about, what would you say to people who might be on the fence, wondering if they should do it or not? Should they spend the money or not? Like, talk about where you were, where you at, and what would you say to people?
I love that question. I absolutely love that question. I think I challenge everybody to ask themselves a question as to, if you want to be, whatever your goal is, whether it's to be wealthy, whether it's to go on a trip, whether it's to buy your next house, buy your next car, save for kids' university, whatever that goal is, why would you give your money to somebody else? And when I say somebody else, I should say invest in something else. We talked about making sure that you're in control. Yeah. So why would I give somebody money? I'm not saying not to do this, but I mean, but why would you give somebody money to invest into a stock that is going to make you rich? Why would you invest in somebody else's business that you have no control of, that is going to make you rich? So when you take the money that you're willing to invest and you invest it in yourself, and BOY, bet on yourself, you need to always be betting on yourself before anything else.
Yes.
So any investment that's going to make you better, the better person you become, the more money you will have, right? The more you follow the program and hit those different pillars in life, there may be more business opportunities. I can speak to it, more business opportunities that start to come your way, right? So things start to change from you're out seeking opportunity to you make a small investment in yourself. You start going out and portraying the success that you got, your life, your fitness, your family, your business, all in order. That starts attracting different things and different opportunities. So I always say to everybody, why would you bet on something else, bet on a stock, bet on anything else? You should always be betting on yourself and investing in yourself first.
Well, Warren Buffett nailed it. He said the single greatest investment you can make is in yourself, because when you invest in yourself, your income and your impact is unlimited, and you can truly create your own economy when you invest in yourself. And
there's no shiny object or product or something out there that's going to fix your business or fix yourself. It's you. So if you can get somebody that's going to help change your mindset, help getting firing on all those cylinders and buckets of your life, because you hear it everywhere. There's everything that says you need to have a well-rounded individual. You need to have your business, your work, your family, your fitness, your personal time, all those things. That's a well-rounded individual. I was not there. I was solely work. And it goes back to what we had said. It was almost identifying being able to work less, but because I was firing on all those other cylinders, started to attract more opportunity. So always, I would say to anybody, always bet on yourself. It may seem like a big investment. It truly is an investment, but why would you not invest in you're willing to give money to somebody you don't know or a company you don't know. Why would you not invest that small amount into yourself to be a better person? Because those opportunities will continue to come if you're firing. So
Well, I appreciate it, Justin. And just to end on that, I tell people, look around at your house right now, the big screen TV you bought, the shoes that you were buying. You probably have $10,000 of stuff just in your office, in your home that you don't need, but you wanted it. And
Yeah, it didn't make me happier.
good.
It retracted opportunity in business because of it.
Yeah. So look around at all
But
the
again,
stuff.
that small investment in myself
Yeah.
did the exact opposite.
The small investment in yourself is for a lifetime, and you're literally creating your own economy. So, Justin, I know you got to run. I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. Let's do it again in a few months. I'll never forget that text that Chris. I'm 500% above what we were a year ago, and I appreciate you for being part of our community. And we'll talk again soon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you for everything you did and the opportunity you presented to myself and yeah, and where we're at. So thanks for all your help. Really appreciate it.
Have a great day. Keep crushing it, buddy.
You bet.